Did aliens build ancient power plants? For thousands of years, human beings have looked at the ancient world and asked one simple question. How did they do it? How did people who lived so long ago, without machines, without computers, and without modern tools, build some of the most amazing structures ever seen on this planet? Scientists and historians have worked hard to answer this question. But the more they dig, the more mysterious the ancient world becomes. And now, some researchers believe they have found something even more shocking than great buildings and lost cities. They believe they have found evidence that the ancient world was powered by energy. Not just any energy, but a kind that almost seems impossible for people of that time to have created. The question that now shakes the world of history and science is this. Did aliens build ancient power plants? The story begins in Pakistan, in a place called Mohenjo-Daro. In 1922, archaeologists found the remains of a great city buried under the earth. This city was more than 4,000 years old, and it was enormous. More than 35,000 people may have once lived there. The streets were organized. The buildings were strong. The people who built this city clearly knew what they were doing. But what happened to them? That is where the mystery begins. When scientists dug through the ruins, they found something deeply strange. Pieces of pottery and rock had been melted and fused together. The material had turned glassy, as if it had been exposed to an unbelievably high temperature. A scientist named Dr. Sam Iyengar studied a sample of this fused pottery carefully. He ran tests on it using a method called X-ray diffraction, which can show exactly how a material was formed and changed. What he found stopped him cold. The results showed that the clay in the pottery had been exposed to temperatures between 4,000 and 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That is an almost unimaginable level of heat. For comparison, a house fire reaches around 1,000 degrees. Even a modern industrial furnace rarely goes beyond 3,000 degrees. There is simply no known way that a civilization in 2000 BC could have produced that kind of heat on its own. Dr. Iyengar himself admitted that the only explanation he could find was something supernatural. And researchers who study ancient texts from India believe they know exactly what happened there. According to the ancient Indian epic called the Ramayana, a powerful city called Lanka was destroyed in a great battle. The text describes what sounds very much like a nuclear explosion. It says the sky lit up brighter than 50 suns. Whatever happened at Mohenjo-Daro, it left behind physical proof that something extraordinary and violent took place there. And that raises the terrifying possibility that advanced technology, perhaps alien technology, was used in the ancient world. But Mohenjo-Daro is not the only place that holds these secrets. Thousands of miles away, in Egypt, stand some of the most famous structures in human history. The Great Pyramid of Giza has fascinated people for centuries. Most people know it as a tomb, built for a pharaoh. But a growing number of scientists and researchers believe the pyramid was something far more important. They believe it was a machine. The walls of the Great Pyramid contain high amounts of quartz crystal. This is not a coincidence, according to researchers. Quartz crystal has a remarkable property called piezoelectricity. This means that when quartz is squeezed or vibrated, it produces electricity. And when electricity is applied to quartz, it vibrates. This back-and-forth relationship between pressure, vibration, and electricity makes quartz one of the most energy-responsive materials found in nature. An engineer named Christopher Dunn spent years studying the Great Pyramid and came to a stunning conclusion. He believes the pyramid was a geomechanical device, meaning it was connected to the Earth itself and tuned to vibrate along with the natural frequencies of the planet. In this way, the pyramid could convert the Earth's natural energy into usable electromagnetic power. This idea becomes even more interesting when you think about the ancient obelisks found all over Egypt and beyond. These tall, pointed stone towers were built by the millions and placed in important locations across the ancient world. Scholars have long debated their true purpose. Some say they were just symbols of power. Others say they were religious monuments. But ancient astronaut theorists argue that the obelisks were actually part of a massive energy network. Most obelisks are made from granite, which, like the Great Pyramid, contains large amounts of quartz crystal. Researchers believe that the obelisks work together with the pyramids to transmit energy over long distances, in the same way that radio towers today transmit signals through the air. If this is true, then the ancient Egyptians were not just building impressive monuments. They were building a global power grid. This idea sounds incredible, but it is not without a modern parallel. More than 100 years ago, a brilliant inventor named Nikola Tesla had a very similar idea. Tesla discovered that it was possible to transmit electricity through the air, wirelessly, using the Earth's natural conductivity. He called this concept standing waves, and he built a giant tower called the Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island in New York to test it. Tesla believed that with enough towers, the entire world could be powered by free wireless electricity. One of the key components in his system was quartz crystal. Scientists who study both Tesla's work and ancient history cannot help but notice the connection. Did Tesla rediscover something that was already known thousands of years ago? And if so, who taught it to the ancient world? High in the mountains of Tibet, there is a place that may hold part of the answer. Mount Kailash rises nearly 22,000 feet into the sky and is considered by 4 major world religions to be the most sacred mountain on earth. Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Taoism all point to Mount Kailash as the center of the universe and the home of the gods. For thousands of years, pilgrims have walked a 32-mile path around the base of the mountain as a holy ritual. But some researchers believe Mount Kailash is more than a spiritual symbol. Its shape is unusual. From one side it looks like a cone. From another it looks like a pyramid. And this shape, matching the pyramid shape seen in Egypt and other ancient cultures, has led researchers to believe it may have served a similar purpose. The most stunning piece of evidence connected to Mount Kailash was found far away, in the caves of western China. In 1907, a British explorer named Aurel Stein discovered a sealed room inside a cave complex containing nearly 50,000 ancient manuscripts. Among these documents was a 2nd-century diagram of a place called Mount Meru, described as a cosmic mountain that connected heaven and earth. For almost 100 years, this diagram was studied mostly by religious scholars. But recently, a scientist who works for a major defense company and specializes in advanced weapons took a close look at the ancient drawing. He was stunned by what he saw. The diagram of Mount Meru matched almost perfectly with a modern particle accelerator, also called a cyclotron. A cyclotron is a machine that smashes atoms apart and releases enormous amounts of energy. It was used in the development of the atomic bomb. The ancient diagram appeared to show the same design, with stacked layers and what seemed to be focusing lenses for directing energy. This man, who builds weapons for a living, said without hesitation that the ancient people had drawn a blueprint for one of the most powerful energy machines known to science. If Mount Meru was indeed a particle accelerator, then it would have needed a massive power source to run it. Researchers believe that power source may have been Mount Kailash itself. According to ancient Mongolian myths, celestial beings lived around Mount Meru because of the energy that flowed from it. It was said to be a transmitter of cosmic power that kept the gods alive. Taken together, the evidence paints a picture of a world long ago that ran on advanced energy systems, systems that modern science is only now beginning to understand. And all of this leads back to the central question. Who built these systems? Could the people of ancient Egypt, ancient Pakistan, and ancient Tibet really have developed all of this on their own? Or were they guided by someone, or something, from beyond this world? Many serious researchers today believe the answer lies not in human innovation but in alien intervention. The argument goes like this. The same technology, the same knowledge of energy, vibration, crystal, and electromagnetic power, appeared in multiple civilizations across the globe at roughly the same time. These civilizations had no contact with each other. They spoke different languages, worshipped different gods, and lived on opposite sides of the planet. Yet they all built pyramids. They all revered mountains with unusual shapes. They all worked with stone that contained quartz crystal. And they all left behind texts that speak of gods who came from the sky and shared incredible knowledge with humanity. This is not coincidence. This is a pattern. And patterns have causes. Ancient astronaut theorists believe that an advanced alien civilization visited Earth thousands of years ago and helped early humans build a global network of power plants. These power plants used the Earth's own energy, amplified through crystal-rich stone, to generate and transmit electricity across vast distances. When these visitors left, or were forced to leave, the knowledge slowly faded. The great structures they helped build were eventually forgotten or misunderstood. Later generations looked at the pyramids and saw tombs. They looked at the obelisks and saw symbols. They looked at Mount Kailash and saw a holy mountain. But beneath all of these stories and beliefs, the original truth remained hidden. These were power plants. Built not by primitive humans scraping the earth with simple tools, but by a civilization so advanced that even today, with all of our science and technology, we struggle to explain how they were made. The evidence found at Mohenjo-Daro, in the Great Pyramid, at Abu Ghorab in Egypt, at Balanced Rock in America, and across the ancient manuscripts of Asia all points toward the same conclusion. The ancient world was far more advanced than we have been taught. And that advancement did not come from nowhere. Something, or someone, gave it a push. Whether that push came from the stars or from a lost human civilization that rose and fell before recorded history, the result is the same. Ancient power plants exist. They were built with knowledge that goes far beyond what early humans should have possessed. And the greatest mystery of our time is not whether they were built, but who built them, why they were built, and what they were truly meant to power. The answer may change everything we thought we knew about the history of this planet.